No, they killed her and put her in a lunchbox. They cut her up and put her in a damn lunchbox. What did she do to make them niggas?
It was Jocelyn.
Brother, you tried to scam the cartel? Oh, you got to know better than that one.
11th, 2011, two men lean against a wall, void of hope. They'd committed crimes against one of Mexico's deadliest cartels. And in a few minutes, the consequences of their actions were about to change the course of their lives.
Minutes. They on your ass in minutes.
Forever. Here at times, thugs messed with the wrong cartels. October 10th, 2010, Chandler, Arizona. Blood pooled on the floor of this apartment. Martine Cota Monroy's headless body lay motionless. Minutes earlier, he'd welcomed men he thought were friends. He never realized they were cartel enforcers, sent to deal with him for lying about a cartel. Martine wasn't a drug lord, nor even a major player, but he made one of the deadliest mistakes imaginable. He would steal from a cartel. Worse, actually, he lied about it.
It ain't worse. You dead either way. Hey, you dead either way.
To him. Now, he was linked to a trafficking ring known as PEI Estatales, connected to the powerful Sinaloa cartel. According to reports, he helped himself to a shipment containing roughly 400 pounds of marijuana, along with a stash of methamphetamine. He didn't just skim a bit off the top. He took it all. Instead of owning up, he fed the cartel a lie. He claimed that the U.S. Border Patrol had intercepted those drugs. Maybe he'd believed the story would buy him time. Maybe he thought the distance would protect him. Either way, he underestimated who he was dealing with. The cartel operates on three pillars: loyalty, fear, and control. Martine violated all of them. And lies, especially ones involving product and money, aren't tolerated. He knew he couldn't talk his way out of it, so he ran. He flees across the border and lands in Chandler. He tried to disappear, keeping a low profile, hoping he could outrun the consequences. But cartels don't forget, and they never forgive. If you
should have took your ass to Egypt.
You steal from them, they will find you.
Sweden.
So not long after settling in, Martine's past obviously caught up with him. The cartel sent their sicarios, ready to send a message. On the night of the murder, the sicarios would enter the apartment without force. They came disguised as friends, familiar faces. There was no fighting, no shouting, just a quiet, terrifying moment of realization. Far too late for Martine to escape. They took his head off. The crime scene left experienced officers shaken. The sheer brutality suggested something more than murder. This was pretty personal, calculated. A message not only to Martine, but to anyone watching. Betrayal is answered with spectacle. And cartel logic, bullets are too quick. Elation may be too personal, but ripping your head off its body, now that's theater. That's how fear spreads. They wanted the world to know what would happen, and why. So the murder launches an immediate investigation. Law enforcement fears this is more than just an isolated hit. Could it be a start of cartel executions spilling over into U.S. suburbs? Was the line between Mexican cartel territory and American soil already gone? As the case unfolded, arrests were made. Among the suspects was Crisantos Motoyoki Yocupicio, who was later convicted in...
Who? Man, he just sound like he in the cartel. What was his name? Run that back. This shit was crazy.
Territory in American soil already gone. As the case unfolded, arrests were made. Among the suspects was Crisantos Motoyoki Yocupicio, who was later convicted and sentenced to 14 years for his role in the killing. Everybody involved had ties to drug trafficking, reinforcing the theory that this was a cartel-ordered hit and not a random act of violence. Even with the suspects in custody, the message remained. The reach of the cartel wasn't limited to border towns nor remote hideouts. They had no problem sending killers across state lines, embedding them in quiet neighborhoods, and carrying out executions with surgical precision. Cota Monroy believed that he could outsmart this system. He figured out hiding in the U.S. would keep him safe for some reason. Now that border was more than just a line. It was a barrier. But cartels don't care about barriers. They care about sending messages. And this one was pretty clear. His death rocked law enforcement. The brutality of it, the planning, the symbolism, it's all pointed to an escalation. I mean, if cartels are willing to decapitate a man inside the US, what came next? More hits? More messages? Was this a turning point? The FBI and other federal agencies took notice. Resources were diverted. Investigations expanded, and cartel activity inside the US began receiving a
I'm sorry, but all the Mexicans in the United States and you think they can't send some Sicarios up here?
New level of scrutiny. Suddenly,
Boy.
the idea of a cartel war playing out in a quiet American city didn't seem so far-fetched. Cota Monroy thought he could disappear. Steal, lie, start over. But with cartels, you don't get a second chance. The rules are brutal, and betrayal isn't met with warnings. It's met with an execution designed to send a message. His death did more than end a life. His death was pretty hardcore, rocking law enforcement, forcing a shift in how agencies confront cartel threats, and it left a permanent scar on a quiet Arizona town. January 5th, 2015, a photo started making rounds. A young woman, slim and serious, held this assault rifle. She wore black, rocked a vest, and had Nino inked on her arm. This image wouldn't just go viral. It would put a huge target on her back. Now, Jocelyn Alejandra Nino wasn't supposed to become a symbol of cartel warfare, but that's exactly what happened. Better known as La Flaca, a nickname doubling as slang for death itself, Jocelyn emerges from the chaos of northeastern Mexico as both a warning and a spectacle. She was young, armed, and fearless. In early 2015, a photo of her surfaced, posing with an assault rifle, chin up, eyes cold, looking.
It looked like she's still in her childhood room. Look. She got double stacked TVs, no dresser, toys, family photos, stuffed animals. Come on now. She knows she got no business doing this, boy.
Like she belonged in a narco movie. But this ain't fiction. Jocelyn was real, and she was part of a brutal war, playing out in the streets of Tamaulipas. Now, she belonged to the Gulf Cartel's faction Los Ciclones, a group locked in a bloody turf war with a rival cell named Los Metros. The internal war within the Gulf Cartel was pretty savage. They weren't taking each other out in the shadows. These guys in broad daylight were ambushing. We had roadside executions and bodies strung from bridges. I mean, Jocelyn wasn't just a part of it, she was also advertising it. So when you have this photo showing a young woman with a gun, it kinda taunts enemies, suggesting some type of fearlessness, and would definitely mark her with a target. Social media exploded with this image, and while some did glamorize it, others recognized it for what it was, a death sentence. In cartel territory, visibility is a liability. Jocelyn had just become a symbol, and in cartel logic, symbols need to be destroyed.
She made herself the top op.
On April 3rd, 2015, that symbol was silenced. A red cooler was found abandoned in a Matamoros parking lot, not far from the Veterans International Bridge.
Hold on, what did I just
were three
read?
mutilated bodies, one male, two female. Dismembered, disfigured, discarded. One tattoo on a severed arm confirmed what many feared.
No, they killed her and put her in a lunchbox. They cut her up and put her in a damn lunchbox. What did she do to make them niggas?
It was Jocelyn. She'd been kidnapped, tortured. Her remains were stuffed in this cooler and dumped with a note. Reported.
No, they turned all three of them into a picnic. A straight barbecue, boy. What? In a cooler is crazy.
Signed by Los Metros. The message was pretty blunt.
This is what happens to those who
turned their ass to a snack.
Yeah, that note left with her body made one thing clear. This was about eliminating influencers, silencing defiance, and crushing morale. I mean, she was made into an example. We had no trial, no negotiation, no mercy. Jocelyn had to be turned into a warning. Her death went viral, just like her photo had. The same people who once admired her now shared her image alongside pictures of that cooler. The brutal contrast made headlines. One moment she's the face of the
they posted her in the cooler is crazy. No, they memed her up. That's
cartel's next generation, only to become butchered meat on pavement. Speculation swirled. Some said she was captured in a raid, gone wrong. Others believe she was lured into a fake meeting, set
I'm telling you, playing with the wrong crowd, you're gonna get turned to beef jerky.
up by somebody inside. The truth didn't really matter. In this world, if you're recognizable, being remembered is often what gets you killed. Jocelyn wasn't the first woman in this world, nor will she be the last. But her story
You remember
cuts
gets
through.
you killed? Oh yeah, forget me. Yeah, I need everybody to go ahead and forget me.
because it captures the insanity of it all. The fantasy
Who
with
is
the horror,
Jayythreee? I
the
don't know.
pride, and the punishment. In the eyes of her killers, she made herself too visible. A woman with a gun, a name, and a reputation. That was enough. Her body wasn't just disposed of. They displayed it. She'd been marked for death the moment that photo hit the internet. There's no loyalty in cartel warfare. No protection, even if you kill for them. Jocelyn definitely knew the risks, but maybe she thought she'd be spared. Maybe she believed in the hype around her image. But in the end, again, none of it mattered. Factions shift, names fade. The only constant is death. To this day, her name floats around online, usually tied to that infamous photo. Some still call her La Flaca. Others remember that tattoo, the cooler, the warning. But what matters most
I'ma
is
remember that
Jocelyn
cooler.
Alejandra Niño stepped into a world that doesn't forgive visibility, doesn't reward boldness, and doesn't care if you're 20, fearless, and a female. Cartels do not fear you. They
If you a female, I don't even know why you would even go this avenue. You got so many other options. This is not for you.
erase you.
I
And
promise
when
this
they
is not
do,
for you.
They make sure you're remembered exactly how they want. With no head, silenced, stuffed in a box with your story reduced to a message written in someone else's hand. October 11th, 2011, two shirtless men sat slumped against a crumbling adobe wall, eyes hollow, silence thick. No cries, no struggle, just a camera, some executioners, and the quiet terror of two cartel couriers awaiting a fate worse than death.
Whoa,
Now, the
they
younger
pulling out
man
the
looked hollowed
chainsaw.
out,
Hold on, let me
sunken
sit
eyes,
up.
a gaunt face that told its own story. His name was Felix Gomez Garcia. Right beside him is his uncle, Barnabas Gomez Castro. Both these guys were low-level drug mules for the infamous Sinaloa cartel. But to these guys looming over them, all dressed in military-style gear, faces hidden, guns in hand, they were marked. Maybe these guys were traitors, maybe thieves, or maybe they just ran out of luck at the worst
Yeah,
possible
they-
moment.
they
Again,
ran out
whatever
of
the
all
reason,
of
their
the luck.
fate was no longer
Not even
theirs
some,
to
the
decide,
all of it.
and the camera had already started rolling. Guys, there was no fight, no panic, just quiet submission. They sat, resigned and ruined, fully aware that the end had come. So as the
What you gonna do, bro? When the cartel gets you in that room, it's OV.
footage begins, a voice,
GG's, man.
calm
Close
and
app like
eerily
it's 2K. Just
unfazed,
close app.
starts questioning them from off screen. It's that kind of tone that sends chills down your spine because there's no emotion behind it. And Felix answers first. His words are clear, steady. He confesses to moving drugs across the border. He even drops some names, openly stating
You
they work
name
directly
drop?
under El
Why would you name drop? What is you gonna get from that? My God. You gonna snitch to some niggas that don't respect snitching. What is the logic in that?
Chapo. No panic in his voice. Just a man who knows the truth won't change a thing. Then Barnabas speaks up. His voice
Still won't
pretty
change a
shaky,
thing.
but he
Why
holds
is you
it together.
saying it?
And it's what he says that really hits you like a
Oh,
gut
bro,
punch.
I tell
He
you,
doesn't
bro.
beg. He doesn't plead. Instead, he delivers a warning. Not to the killers, but to whoever's watching this video.
You never come back.
He says,
With these people, you don't joke around. Think hard before you cross them. El Chapo's people
Clearly you didn't think too hard, bro.
aren't who they pretend to be.
his words hang in the air like a final truth, more than a confession. It feels like a dying man's last plea
They
to the
ain't
world.
pretending to
Don't
be nothing.
follow
They
this
really
path.
living like
Then
that.
silence. A masked executioner steps forward, chainsaw in hand, and it starts with a roar. Barnabas turns his head slightly, almost like he's made peace with what's coming. And then it begins. That chainsaw tears into his neck. Blood splashing
he
on
took
the
a
wall.
chainsaw
His
to
head is
the
gone
neck.
in moments. It's horrifying. Fast. Brutal. But when they move toward Felix, the chainsaw slips. It cuts deep into his arm. He doesn't even react, not even a flinch. This might have been adrenaline, drugs, or maybe just complete surrender.
accidentally
No
got
one
his arm
knows.
cut
Then
off?
it gets worse.
Oh,
They don't finish him
damn.
with a chainsaw. They switch to a knife, and this time it's slow, sloppy. The killer fumbles like he's unsure how to do it properly. The blade drags across Felix's throat. He tries to scream, but it's too late. His windpipe's already severed. The noise that comes out is nothing but this wet, desperate gurgling. You hear the knife grinding against the bone. You hear him dying, and that camera does not look away. At some point, it stops feeling real. Your brain's trying to convince you this can't be happening. How can something like this be in a world that I live in? But you know what? This is real. And that's the whole point. The cartel doesn't just execute you. They gotta put on a show, send a message. The saddest part? They didn't commit some grand betrayal. No major act of treason. The accusations were petty. Now maybe they stole a small amount of product. Maybe they spoke to the wrong person or just simply acted carelessly.
What did they do?
Nothing should cost somebody this. Barnabas even said on camera that his last job earned him just 300 pesos. That's barely $21. That's all his life was worth to the people he'd risked.
No, he got whacked over a dub. A dub? He can't even get a 3-5. Oh, oh, not the chainsaw for the dub. Imagine what they don't do for 100 bun.
Everything for the ones torturing him at this point. When the video made its way online, it did
He got
exactly
killed
what
over
it was meant to
gas
do.
money.
Terrify. Viewers are left shaken, disgusted, maybe physically ill. I mean, to this day, journalists and investigators
Man, they really killed that boy over some gas money.